So this week's episode of Made of Chelsea was the last episode, and to be honest, if I think about the entire episode, I feel like there's not really much to really say. I think one thing, obviously, which was the main thing, was obviously Jazz and Inga, right? That was the main thing. That's what this season even left the like exactly left it on. I mean, like kind of the potential of if they'll be friends, they said, oh, they don't want to be without each other. I feel like no, like Inga annoyed me actually. If I'm honest, I meant because in the way that, yeah, she came across like, oh, she obviously went to Jazz and was like, yeah, I'm really sorry. So when they were obviously on the bench, and then oh my gosh, the bench, I could tell when Jazz was hugging Inga that it wasn't actually a casual friend hug. The way she was holding on to her and like her eyes were closed, I said, yeah, that's not even a casual hug you do with your pal. That's a proper hug where it's like, I'm actually in love with this person, like that ass. I'm in love with this person, and I could see it in her eyes. And then when she was talking to Inga, obviously Inga was being like, yeah, I'm so sorry, like I wish I shouldn't know, I didn't know that also our bond like was so much like to you and this what and ever, and I'm sorry that I treated you that way and whatever. But what annoyed me was exactly, I mean, I didn't like her apology just because in the way of course, just bus before, like she changed her tune so quickly. Just in the previous episode, she was out here being like, oh yeah, it's all in Jazz's head, like I'm at this with everyone, like she was doing all of that. Like, how can you switch up so quickly? I'm serious. How can you switch up so quickly and then be like, oh my gosh, actually I really miss you and I'm actually really sorry and I want to be in your life? She's coming like a toxic ex. And this is the thing, even them not being friends was coming across like exes. And this is what I mean, like I don't think the show's trying to gaslight us as the audience in the way that, oh yeah, like their relationship wasn't anything serious, but it was. And I was thinking, like, why was it that Inga tried to pretend like it wasn't? Like, she was in it. Do you know what I mean? She was in it. She was there. I guess I just don't know. I think I even said it in previous episodes anyways, that I just think she was super confused anyways. That's why when I speak about this situation, I don't want to comfort her too much, because I do feel like she was confused, and it's normal to be. I mean in the way that, like, okay, if you're in a relationship and then, like, I mean, not in a relationship, sorry, if you're in a friendship, your friend, yeah, and not to say, oh yeah, your friend is gay, so that means anything's gonna happen. But as I said, like, all I'm saying is, like, right, you have to be cautious, you have to be careful. And I mean, she didn't, like, I don't know, she didn't think about those things. I found that really weird. Remember, I was even saying to you guys in the episode before that, yes, she was just coming across weird because she was doing a lot of blaming, and she was saying like, oh yeah, I'm at this with all of my friends, like, yes, we cuddle together, we do all of this, and I'm like, sorry, I don't do that, so I don't know about you. Do you know what I mean? And then even more so, because that's why Jules, as I said in the previous episode, was out here being like, oh yeah, but Jazz is gay, so can we all kind of remind that? Can we all put our thinking caps on to remember that Jazz is gay? So that means when you're hugging her, at, like, do you know what I mean? If you're gonna say, oh, you're gonna cuddle with your friend normally, but then if you're hugging Jazz, and it's a complete different story. But no, I just found the whole thing weird. Like, I meant her apology coming off as like, oh yeah, now I'm really sorry. I'll put my hands up and be like, okay, sorry, and whatever, and this, that, and the third, and that. Yes, I know we had a close bond, and I'm just like, yes, we know you had a close bond. Why did you? This is what I mean. For me, when she said that apology to Jazz on the bench, I was like, why did you not know that you had a close relationship that was almost morphing into a real one? Do you know what I mean? And everyone, the thing also which is interesting about Jazz and Inga is that everyone peeped their tea before they did as well. Like, that's what's so hilarious. Everyone was like, oh yeah, Jazz and Inga, like, they seem a bit friendly. So obviously when they were still in Scotland, everyone was like, oh, Jazz and Inga seem a bit friendly. And then of course that was when they were a bit like, oh no, you can't make these jokes because Jazz is in a relationship. And then of course Jazz comes out of said relationship, and it's like, everyone's like, oh yeah, see, you guys were close, you know what I mean? And it wasn't just a little friendship. You guys were genuinely, like, do you know what I mean? You guys were feeling it something for each other. Obviously, what was really interesting to me was that obviously the episode ended, like, I mean, it's 2 seasons where Jazz has had breakups, because she had Inga and she also had Jack. Like, the Jack one though was like, do you know what I mean? The Jack one was actually, to me, it was iconic. I mean, because I remember when Jack had feelings for Jazz, and then he was like, well, Jazz, I really like you, and you know what's so funny? I was like, oh my gosh, they're best of pals now. But dearie me, that was crazy. That was a crazy time when he liked her, and it was like, and then Jazz was like, oh, Jack, no. And then it was like, and I remember, who was she, like, I guess someone was hating on her at the time. Oh yes, Olivia. So Olivia, oh, this is what I mean. Olivia's so weird. This is why I said to you guys, I don't like Liv, because she's weird. And then obviously like that's when Liv was upset with Jazz, and I don't think they're not even friends now, obviously currently anyways, because obviously she was upset with Jazz in that time because she thought like that something was going on with her and Jack, which of course Jack liked Jazz, but again it wasn't a two-way thing though, it was just a one-way. So I was like, why are you upset? Be upset with Jack, if anything. No, literally, be upset with Jack. That was weird. And then obviously, even if a little mention to Liv, obviously in this episode, she obviously said to Kit that she's in a new relationship. And we were like, oh, like you are. But it's not surprising. When she said it to Kit, I was like, well, of course you are. But not even in the way of like, oh, of course you are. But it's just like Olivia to me, like obviously when she first came on the show, because obviously she came through the show through Jack. That's what I was saying. You know, when these people will come through the show through other people, but she came through the show through Jack. And then obviously I was like, do you know what I mean? She obviously gives what's it called? She gives like pick me in a way. That's what I thought. And I hate like using terms like that. Do you know what I mean? Like in terms of just like when we're speaking about women, I'm literally like, oh, I hate it. But it's like for me, she does give that though, because the way that of course she acted and her conduct, and do you know what I mean? The amount of way that she came out of her relationship, then she went to do crazy stuff, and she was with like 3 guys on the show, bro. Like actually 3. Wait, sorry. Yes. Sorry, wait. 3. Yes, because Angus, Chugs, and Kit. Yes, she was with all 3 of those people, bro, and right fresh off a breakup. So I was a bit like, that's where the whole situation falls a bit funny. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's the only thing you can really judge her on. I mean, that's what I'm saying. And I know it's weird because we're a bit like, oh, should we judge her? Because do you know what I mean? When you come out of a relationship, of course, do you know what I mean? You want to go to town, but like I just mean you need a little. You want to go to town, but I mean you need a few days at least though. Like she, in a way, the way that she acted after her breakup resembled more so to me like what a guy does, you know what I mean? That's why I was a bit confused. She obviously came out of her breakup and immediately just went back out on the horse, and I was a bit like, oh well, I'm a bit confused, you know what I mean? I just didn't expect that to happen, you know? I mean in the way that I feel like on the show, because I said this as well, like I felt like maybe on the show it was maybe a bit rushed, because maybe it didn't really feel like she really cared for Jack all that much, like, and of course we know that she did because she was with him, but I mean on the show it kind of just felt like, you know what I mean, like it kind of just felt like, you know what I mean, she didn't really care about him, and that like, you know, we didn't see her, you know, in distress like Jack was. So it was a bit like, you know, it was a very confusing time, do you know what I mean? But then I'm also like, oh, can we really, what's the word? Can we really judge her that much? I don't know. I don't know. I think they didn't do a good like way of showing her on the show, if that makes sense. So that might sound weird, but I meant, do you know, I think reality TV shows always know what they're doing. So I meant in the way that they didn't make her look good at all. That's what I mean. I meant like, do you know, if they meant to do that, then they did that. Do you know what I mean? So they made it seem like, do you know what I mean, she wanted to like just get with everyone, and then that's what they wanted the storyline to be. Do you know what I mean? They wanted her to come across heartless and all these things, and I'm like, well, cool, but like that's not fair, is it? Like I'm like, you know what I mean? We said, is she like that, or like is that what you guys are doing? Do you know what I mean? We're not sure, and it's probably more so that it's them. You know what I mean? It's more so that it's the makers. That's what I mean. They're more in the back rooms being like, yeah, like you should definitely come across like, you know what I mean, like no fucks given. Like you don't care about this guy. You don't care that you just broke up. It doesn't even matter. Like move on to the next guy. That's what I mean. They do this, and we know that reality TV does this because it's when people talk about Love Island, for instance, remember, and then like Love Island people will say that, right, the producers on those shows, right, they're literally like, oh, this person over there is talking about you or whatever, and it's like, and then they'll just drop little tidbits. I'm like, okay, this is how you guys make your shows, you know what I mean? This is what is needed. Like that's the ingredients for your potion. You have to put it all together like this. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that they pull so much strings, because generally I did really think like with reality TV, I remember like, I guess, yeah, I mean I've watched reality TV for a long time, but I mean I used to think that like of course it was just a random thing, and that I meant like they just put people together and they just I guess they just lived out their lives. But I didn't really know that, I guess I didn't know that there was like more so like of a script and everyone's all like doing different stuff. I just didn't know about that. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know that they really had like scripts and all this stuff and that ways to make it more dramatized. I was like, what? Like, do you know what I mean? But it's when you realize that there's a thin line between do you know what I mean, reality and then like just what I mean, like real and reality. That's what I'm saying. So for them it's it's two different meanings. Do you know what I mean? It's not like real, but it's like, do you know what I mean? But it's like reality, but like with a little shine on it though, little shine, little gloss. That's what they want on there with the reality. But with real, they're not showing you really real. Only when, bro, I feel like, okay, the only really then I would say in episode 10 really what they're trying to maybe highlight with real anyways, do you know what I mean, as far as real goes. I'm keep emphasizing you guys real, but no, like the real I suppose would obviously be with Sam Vanderpump, because of course they obviously had that like show about him on E4 as well. So the show where they were also talking about his diagnosis, and then of course they spoke about his diagnosis in this episode as well, to be fair, and that's when everyone decided to do the challenge for him. And also Gareth said that he'd give him his liver, which I think is really lovely as well, by the way. And I do think it's lovely that they are talking about it on this show, to be fair, and that they are trying to gauge awareness. And I mean, like, obviously trying to help Sam, and you know, like, he's having a tough time, like they said, because then even when they promoted the show, like during the ads, you know, he's just become a husband, he's also a father now, and then, do you know what I mean, on top of that, he's also sick. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like he's actually going through the ringer. Do you know what I mean? In terms of like, I don't even feel like it's not an average scenario. No one goes through that every day in terms of, do you know what I mean? It should be a very it should be a very happy time. I mean, do you know what I mean? Coming into fatherhood and like being a husband, all those two main things. Do you know what I mean? Best moments. This is what I'm saying. Best moments of your life. And then on top of that, you also have to think about your health and everything like that. But it's actually crazy. So obviously there was that too, which they're focusing on, which I think is good. Because this is what I mean when I'm just saying to you guys about real and reality. I think it's good, because it would be weird if they didn't mention that. Do you know what I mean? Because again, it would just look weird. Like, do you know what I mean? It'd be like, oh yes, I'm sick, but they're not going to talk about it, and they're not going to try to tell people to like spread awareness, or they're not even going to try for to inspire people to put their names on like registries to help people like with the same thing that Sam has. Do you know what I mean? Because they're like, yes, they obviously, I think they said, yes, if you donate your liver, then it saves lives. So there we go. So that's what they're trying to like push forwards. Yeah, so they mentioned that. Then also, I suppose, I guess when you think about the entire episode, for me, as I said in the beginning, I feel like the main thing was Jazz and Inga, if you think about it, because as I said, that's how the show closed up. But of course, you also had that other stuff with what was it, with Jules, Zeno, and Chugs. Yeah, so exactly. But that whole storyline again, this is what I mean. I think I even wrote it in my like review thing, because I obviously usually do a blog that about my monthly watches, but I was like like it was just, I felt like, this is what I mean, like sometimes I do feel like reality TV, they do like, I guess, what do you call it, like pinch for straws, or this is what I mean. I think they, when they put ideas in a hat, like, do you know what I mean, sometimes it doesn't always come out the best, and you're a bit like, oh okay, like I'm not really that interested in this. But this is what I mean, as I think I wrote that, like, more so I care about like the Jazz and Inga storyline, because again, it just, to me, it was interesting to see, because obviously I don't really feel like Made in Chelsea's really explored that before. And then, like, you know what I mean, it's two women who kind of, their relationship has, like, do you know what I mean, was a friendship, but it kind of blossomed into more. So I think it's something very interesting for them to touch on. And then, you know what I mean, you'll see it on like Made in Chelsea all the time, but in terms of like friends blossoming into more. And then, back to the Zaino and like Chugs thing, but it's like, yeah, that's what I meant. The storyline is just not really that interesting. But the thing that I will say though was, like, Chugs obviously said to Jules that, like, he said to her, yeah, you didn't check up on me, and it was a bit like, what? Like, and then also it was weird because he said, why didn't you check up on me after, you know what I mean, like, I decided to kiss well, do you know what I mean? First of all, he said he has no loyalty to Harvey. That's fine. He doesn't really know Harvey. That's fair enough. Then he said, oh, well, do you know what I mean? He made up with Armin already. But then I was like, well, okay, but that's not the point. Like, that's what they kept saying, though. I found that really weird. I would think, I was like, oh, yeah, fine, guys, have a go at Tristan and Jules, because I guess people want to use them as a target, maybe. That's what I was thinking. But I was like, you know what, that's fine. But then I was also a bit like, I was a bit confused, because I was like, well, like, do you know what I mean? What you did was time me, so I'm a bit confused. I meant, like, I was still like, oh, it's wrong. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like when Armin was upset, exactly, at like first glance, do you know what I mean? Or when he found out about it, he was upset and he felt betrayed. And then, of course, then obviously, like, him and Chugs had a conversation, they mulled it over. But it doesn't change the fact that, you know what I mean, he was taken aback at first, you know what I mean? So that's why when we think about it on a grand scale, it's like, no, it's weird. And like, you can remove Harvey from the situation if you want, like I said. You can remove him, but again, it's still weird, like, as in to do it to like your best friend, and then like, do you know what I mean? Then Armin was kind of seeing Zaino, and then like, yeah, it's the whole interconnectedness. Like, it's weird, actually. That's why, yes. So him being like, oh yeah, why didn't you check up on me? I'm like, no, because you did a bad thing, so why are we checking up on you? That is weird. Do you know what I mean? You're gonna check up on someone who decided to do something bad, and like something that like you wouldn't do. And then also, obviously, Jules was like, well, also I have allegiance to Harvey because I live with him, so it's like, also I'm not gonna check up on you because I find that weird, because you're dating my friend's ex and like I live with him. Do you know what I mean? So that's not gonna work. And I literally get that. I feel like, exactly, I get Jules and Tristan's point of view. I don't think Zaino's a bad person, though, mind you, as such, because obviously Tristan said he thinks she's bad just because she was with Harvey, and I was like, well, that's just your whole thing. Do you know what I mean? You guys have your own situation. That's what I'm saying. And I think they even tried to say that too, like, in terms of how Tristan said Zaino brought Jules into it, and I was like, well, yeah, she did. And then also it was weird that, of course, she would, like, I guess, slate Tristan to Jules, and that's really weird because that's her boyfriend, so I don't know what that was about. And then like, so I was like, I didn't know what that was about. It was a bit confusing. And then of course, yeah, Tristan and Zaino's thing is a whole different separate thing, but then they decided to just make it everyone's problem. I mean, that's kind of what I felt from that whole scenario. Exactly, to sum the whole situation up, that's literally what I felt. Like, I was like, you guys have a scenario, you have an issue, you haven't really gotten like closure over that scenario because you used to live together, and then like I feel like you're annoyed about that somewhat. And then that's even what Tristan was saying to Chugs in the previous episode anyway, because he was like, oh yeah, I lived with Zaino for like 2 years, so like she's not the one. And I was like, well, what does that mean? Like, you know what I mean? It sounded so weird. He's like, I lived with her for 2 years. It's like, oh, like what, she doesn't flush the toilet? Like, do you know what I mean? It gave that because you were a bit like, well, what's the issue? Like, I know you lived with her, like I know that she's your friend's ex, but like what's the problem? What's the root issue? Lots of dancing around stuff. I don't like when people do that though. Like, literally tell us. Do you know what I mean? If you're like, okay, it's because she's your friend's ex, okay, yes, and you know what I mean? There's always that. You have to think about yes and. People just like to say things, but they don't explain afterwards. They just be like yes. They just be like yes. They just say yes and, but they don't really expand more. You know, I'm just saying, like, what's the issue, right? And I'm saying you don't like it that she's, yes, like she dated your friend, but I'm saying like, what's the issue after that? And you know, also what's weird to me as well, I feel like when Zaino came into the show, like, and she broke up with Harvey, like, Harvey did her wrong, though, and I can remember that for a fine fact, because Harvey usually does this, though, like, that's what I mean, Harvey's a repeat offender. I like Harvey, don't get me wrong, but as I said, I know his game. Like, literally, most of the guys on that show, I know their game. And then specifically with Harvey, exactly, like Zaino came in the show, like she's on the show now though, obviously more so than he is, fair enough, but I just mean she came on the show through him. And then I remember that like their whole scenario, and then in terms of them breaking up, was like, I think Harvey cheated on her, I believe so I was a bit like, yeah, I was a bit taken aback, because I was like, well, Harvey's not the innocent one in this, really. So I was a bit confused. Like, we're batting for somebody who, what's it called, who like obviously like made the mistake. Obviously, no, I retract that. I don't think that Harvey cheated on her, but there was, okay, obviously I was thinking about something else. There was a cheating scandal somewhat or whatever. Obviously it said that Zaynab cheated on Harvey, but they had issues on the show. I feel like I will say that I remember that. I do want to say that I remember them having issues on the show. That's just me. But in terms of the cheating thing, I don't think that's true though. But again, obviously the thing does say when you search it on Google anyways, it kind of just says, oh, that they, what do you call it? Oh, that she grew tired of feeling underappreciated and that Harvey still wasn't ready for long-term commitment. And I could have told you that. That's what I'm saying. In terms of when I said I know Harvey's game, that's what I meant. I'm like, literally, when I just read that, I said, yes, I know that, because I could already tell that. And yeah, he was just weird. Like, remember, I think, of course, he came on the show as well, like, through someone too. Like, Harvey was Sophie's ex. Yeah, Sophie Bibu, who is now with Jamie. Yes, she's with Jamie. You know what I mean? She's married to Jamie. Do you know what I mean? And her and Jamie, guys, they are so random, because I'm literally like, I never really thought that they would like be together and that they would be together for so long. I mean, as well, I think it's just sometimes because when I think about both of them on the show, I just think, right, like they're so separate, so that's probably why. And I think, yeah, it's crazy. But for me, what's so interesting is like someone like Sam, for instance. Sam, who came a bit in Chelsea, now doing everything else, you know what I mean? He's out and about, but why is it he still hasn't, you know, I guess, found his person? You know, he came on the show with about like, I guess, when Sam was on the show, he had like two main relationships, I mean, anyways. Like, I think it was obviously what was that girl called again? I forget her name. No, but that one where he obviously had his breakup on the TV with her, right? And then obviously his main one was obviously Tiffany, right? It was Tiff. And obviously Tiff again, she's in her own little space too, because she's pregnant and she has, I think, a husband. Yeah, just so crazy. That's what I'm saying. And I feel, sometimes when I think about it, I feel so sorry for Sam. I mean, he's not on Manchester anymore. I wish he would come back too, but like, fair enough. No, like a lot of the OGs though, I have to say, like, I saw that they have that OG Men in Chelsea show, and it's a bit like, you know, I miss the OGs from time to time, because I'm literally like, who are these people? Like, that's what I'm saying. I think you do that a lot though when you're watching shows like this, because it's a bit like, oh, you want to see the people that like you'd been watching for a long time, because that's what I mean. Sam, Jamie, Binky, like, these are my people. I know those people. Like everyone else, oh no, that I don't know those people. And like, I feel like, again, maybe my I guess my most favorite from these like recent seasons now anyways is Jazz. Do you know what I mean? I really love Jazz. That's why this whole thing has been like, do you know what I mean? It's been like stressing me out, because like I'm like, she doesn't deserve it, not in the slightest. And I hate that they, I guess, use her like, I guess, yeah, her gayness almost as like a stereotype or whatever, but it's just a bit annoying, because it's like, do you know what I mean? It's like, right, people should have boundaries with each other. I don't know why it's not a thing already. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I mean. People are talking about the gay thing, but it's like, no, like, that's not the issue. The issue is Inga's over familiarity. You know what I mean? And in terms of how them getting close was so what do you call it? It was so rushed. I mean, like, in terms of like, it's like, I guess, I don't know, like when you meet someone and you immediately move in with them, like, that's what I'm saying. It rings bells like that, because it's not normal. Like, what do you mean you're gonna only just meet someone and already you guys are like cuddling on the sofa and stuff? Like, what is that? And then as I said, they're having arguments, and we're like, exactly, we're literally seeing a relationship unravel, and it's like, it's not real to you, but like, it's real to us. That's what I'm saying. I'm watching your relationship unfold, but then you're in it and you're like, no, this isn't more than what it is. It's literally like just two friends breaking up. And I said, oh, that's the worst friendship breakup I've ever seen in my life. You know what I mean? I said, I don't want any part of that, by the way. Like, I don't need that. I don't need friendship breakups like that. I feel like, exactly, it shouldn't, I don't know. In my head, I'm like, friendship breakups shouldn't even be on that level. Do you know what I'm saying? I meant, like, an average breakup, of course, is somebody that you've been with for years. I'm like, why do I want to see a friendship breakup like that? I don't. Where like they're both crying, and then like obviously yes, so especially on the ending, on the end scene, and obviously Inga and Jazz are both crying, and then like Jazz is like, I mean no, Inga's like, oh I'm sorry, and then Jazz is no, hold on a minute, actually Jazz said I'm sorry first, and we were like, why are you sorry? no, honestly, I think Inga said that too, but it was like, yes, why are you sorry? Inga said, don't say sorry. And it was actually like, yeah, like Jazz shouldn't be sorry. It's you should be sorry. And then obviously Inga was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that my love for you, like she said, because I love you, but it's obviously not the love that, do you know what I mean? It's not the love that you want. And obviously, yes, it very much annoyed me, of course, when she did say to Yaz, oh yeah, she may not be leaving. And I was like, ugh, like, what do you mean you're not leaving? Because I was like, Jazz needs you to leave. That's what I'm saying. And then of course that's why Jazz had to say to her, oh, like, we're not gonna be, like, we can't be friends. And I was like, well, yeah, you can't, like, do you know what I mean? It's not gonna work. And I was actually like, oh, I didn't know that Jazz was gonna say to her, oh yeah, they can't be friends. I thought Jazz was gonna say, oh yeah, if you're not gonna leave, I'll leave. Do you know what I mean? Type ultimatum thing. Because I was generally just thinking, like, you know what I mean? I was thinking one of you needs to go. I don't know who, but it has to be one of you. I don't know, but like Inga's saying, oh yeah, I'm not going back to Bali, and I'm like, okay, well, cool. But I was like, well, Jazz, you need to go on holiday. Like, book a trip, just get out of there. Like, literally, because it's like Jack even said that. It's like, oh, if Inga's gonna stay in Bali, that means she can't get off the drug or the high that is Inga. Like, do you know what I mean? Inga is a drug, and she can't like get away from it. So that's my whole thing. I literally just thought it's so sad. I mean, no, like I literally thought it's so sad. That's what I thought anyways. I was like, yeah, it's sad. But of course, like I think I even said this I guess previously, but like I just think Inga didn't like handle that whole thing correctly. And then of course, like I said, doing like I don't know, I was gonna say victim blaming, but also no, but then it was just the way of her making it like it was a one-sided thing. I just thought that was a bit weird as well too. And that's what I mean. I know that she said sorry, but that's what I mean. Even I was annoyed with her apology. I was thinking, okay, like of course Jazz will say yes, because that's what Jazz said to Jack later on. She was like, oh, when Inga said sorry to me, of course I'm like, you know, Inga, you can't do any wrong because I'm in love with you. But of course when I heard Inga's apology, I was like, no. I was like, no. I was like, for me, exactly. If I was in Jazz's shoes at that point, I would have been like, no. I don't want your apology. It's gross. Because that's what I mean. You making me seem like the bad guy, and that's insane. It was actually you. Like, that's what I mean. Telling everyone, oh look, Jazz is going around saying that I did this and I gave her mixed signals, and I said you did give her mixed signals. Like, exactly, you were there, you gave her mixed signals, so what are we talking about? Why are you acting like you didn't give her mixed signals when you actually did? Oh, another thing I was supposed, actually, I feel like that might be my last final thing, because as I said, the episode was okay, but it wasn't that great. Like, do you know what I mean? Again, like I said, Jazz and Ninga's thing overshadowed the whole thing. Then of course I just had that little Tristan thing, and that was whatever. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know if I really like Tristan that much either. Like, in terms when Zaino said, oh yeah, Tristan's Billy Bollocks or whatever, that's what she said, something about him, and I was thinking, you know, you may not be far off. I mean, I meant like, I don't know, him and Jules, like they give kind of like, I don't know, like role couple. I mean, that's what they give to me. Like, just in terms of like them being in the show, that's kind of what they give. Kind of maybe superiority, actually. But yes, I mean, this is what I mean. With Made in Chelsea anyways, it does all come across like everyone does think they're better than each other. But then I'm just saying, like, them in specific, they kind of feel that way to me the most anyways. And then of course, you know, that's what I mean. Them coming for Chex and Zayn, I was a bit like, you know, I could understand the whole thing, but I was like, you came for these up because, do you know what I mean? Because they're small fry and they're the new people. Do you know what I mean? That is what's happening. Do you know what I mean? So I was a bit like, hold on, this is a bit of bullying. And then of course, yeah, because they came to Chugs and Zayn while they were kissing, and then they were a bit like, and I was like, you guys are rude. What? Like, when we watch you guys kiss, we can't do that too and be like, yuck to you? Like, what do you mean? I was like, whatever. Like, can't we just obviously let people do what they want to do? Like, that's what I'm saying. Even if Chugs' thing is wrong. Like, he's with Zaino, like, and that's just his own thing. Like, let him be happy. I think, oh yeah, then okay, when I mentioned Liv, of course, yeah, no, she was obviously speaking to Kit in that episode, and then obviously I guess they were just saying that they were upset about, I guess, how their thing went down, but whatever. We knew they weren't going to get together, though. Literally, I literally knew that. I knew it wasn't going to happen because, again, like, I said this before, but Liv didn't know what she was doing. Do you know what I mean? At least she's in a relationship now. But still in my head, I would still think her being in a relationship now is still a bit soon from her last one, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? There we go. Like, Jack's not dating anyone, I don't think, but not that they said it in the show, but as I said, I don't know. But I'm just saying, he probably wouldn't think to do that either because he may not be ready. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just like, why is it, that's what I'm saying, why is he having a hard time with a breakup, but like you're not? You know, it doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, you were both there. That's what I'm saying. You're both there into a relationship, and like one of you is like, well, whatever. Let's just leave that in the past. I'll be like, that's not very nice. But I wonder, yeah, what will happen next? Probably, knowing Made in Chelsea, they'll probably go on another holiday. I mean, this is the thing. Like, we're in May, so this is what I mean. There'll probably be a summer, like, I guess, do you know what I mean, summer season kind of, so they'll probably be going to some country. I don't know which one, but yeah, we know they'll be going to a country. We know they'll be going to a country. There'll be all sorts of drama, probably because they've left it on Jazz and Inga. They'll probably leave off that too. Like, I meant, like, the next season will probably start out with that, and they'll probably explain, I don't know, like, Jazz being with like, yeah, Jazz and Inga's like relationship, where they stand now, all this sorts of stuff. Then I guess, bet you, first episode back, they'll be like, oh, Jazz, have you and Inga spoke? And then they'll be like, no, we haven't spoke since the party or whatever. Or then maybe they might say that they have spoke, possibly. And then I feel like, oh, you know what's interesting to me? I think they might obviously introduce like Mary. So obviously the one that Jazz went on a date with, they probably might introduce Mary into the cast somehow, because again, like, they're always looking to splash new people in the show, and then I don't know, sometimes this is the thing, they splash new people in there and then they do discard them. But this is the fact, I think if Mary does come in, yeah, no, I think they'll discard her as well, if I'm honest. I think they will discard her. They'll have her in for a bit because they want her, you know, to, like, I guess, fit into the, like, I don't know, the spin that they're putting on. So the drama that they want to happen, they're going to put her in there. But I do feel like they probably will let her fade away afterwards. Like, she won't be in it forever. Do you know what I mean? It's very interesting though, like when I say to you guys about the forever thing, because you never really know which cast member's going to be in there forever or not. And like I said to you guys before, they'll introduce new people in there, and then it's usually through someone else. And then it's interesting because I don't know, like, even if that person who brought the character, like, brought the person in, and then like they end up leaving, then that person stays, and then I don't know, it's a whole thing. It's really weird actually, because that's what I'm saying to you. Like, Zaino was obviously brought in through Harvey, but then Harvey's not there anymore, so now she's in the show and he's not. And then I suppose if you think about anyone else, from the top of my head, Jazz brought in Demi for a bit, but that's because Demi was her girlfriend, but then they're not together, so Demi's gone. And then I suppose, who else can we really say? There's so many people. There's actually so many people, but I can't think of it. Oh, like Miles was in the show, and then Miles brought in Temps, and now Temps is on the show, and then Temps is obviously now best friends with Sam, and I don't enjoy that. Do you know what I mean? I just think Temps, sorry, I was gonna come off this Temps, but the fact of the matter is that recently he has very much been in gossip, like a lot of the time. I meant in the show, like he didn't really used to be like in gossip that much, even though he was Miles's right hand man. So kind of like Miles would sometimes get himself in drama, but also no. But then what I'm saying is, ever since like Miles is not in the show anymore, and like now Temps is like kind of best buds with Sam, he's just in drama like all the time, and it's very actually annoying. And then also he I guess he's brought his new girlfriend on there, which is Abby. I think, right, she was in the episode before. I didn't know what she was doing there, but of course they now explain that, and that she's his girlfriend. But like, good for him. Like, no, but good for him. But like, what's she doing here? And then also like, what is he doing here too? And then obviously, right, I'm also like him. I guess when I see him sitting with Sam, and that's who he decided to align himself with, I'm a bit like, I just think anyone who decides to align themselves with Sam, they're a bit weird in my eyes, really. I'm just like, why would you do that? And the thing is, was if you're friends with Sam, like I said, like you are going to be in the drama like all the time. You're gonna be in gossip all the time, and you don't want to. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to be in gossip all the time. So that's what I'm saying. I think it's so weird because, right, I would like stay clear from Sam if that was me, and that's why I think I mentioned this to you guys as well before. But when Liv also right, exactly, when she aligned with Sam and she was like, I really enjoy our relationship, Sam, I was like, yeah, that made me hate her like even more. And like, oh, not even hate, but I mean dislike, sorry. I was like, that's a bit strong. But no, that made me dislike her even more because I was a bit like, oh, why is she aligning herself with Sam of all people? And then Sam was telling her that she was doing a good job, and I was like, what? Like, and I was like, that's what I mean. I think I wrote that on one of the episodes one time because I was like, oh yeah, if you're being congratulated by Sam, you're in trouble. You know what I mean? You're actually in trouble. Like, you know, when he obviously, and then he also in this episode, he went up to Inga and Yaz, and then I was like, he's brave. He had to go up to both his exes in the same room. I was like, well, that's not smart. And then also, it's not smart because they're friends, and not to say, oh yeah, they're friends because of their hate for you, but then also yes, but it's like, I don't know why he thought that was smart as well. And then obviously Inga was like, well, I don't have anything to say to you, I don't have anything to speak about with you. But then when you think about that scenario, you do think a bit like, oh well, why would you be friends with the person that, like, I don't know, that your boyfriend cheated on you with at the time, but then you don't want to forgive him? Like, I you know what, that's what I mean. It's a bit weird. I do think situations like that, you do think, that's a bit strange though. Do you know what I mean? Because why would you align with the girl and not the, like, do you know what I mean? Even though I do hear it kind of, because they will usually say the guy is to blame the most, so I do hear her kind of giving him the cold shoulder and not Yaz. But then it's like, it falls to both of them though. That's what I mean. In stuff like that, it falls to both people, not like one or the other. You know, because you're gonna say, oh yeah, like, I don't know, he convinced me or whatever, and I was just swooped up by him. But it's like, no, because you could have said no. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You could have said no. For going down to like loyalty or whatever, you could have said no. So we're not going to just completely blame the guy. But then I get Inga to a certain degree because Sam is annoying. That's what I mean. Like, exactly. At the end of the day, Sam's annoying. So why would you really want to be friends with him anyway? Like, literally, exactly. All I know to say, I was actually talking about I guess her not being friends with Sam. I'm saying all in all to say, like, why is Sam someone you'd actually want to pick as your friend anyway? And then, you know what I mean? Just why? It just wouldn't help you. And then also, anyways, Sam was really weird when she started to be friends with Jazz as well. And I didn't like that whole thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was already, even though exactly they didn't know how strong their, like, the intensity of their, I guess, friendship was, he was already in their ear or saying to people, oh yeah, they look really cozy, they look really friendly. And I was like, slow down, Sam, actually slow down. You don't even know anything. You don't even know what's happening right now, but you're just going around making up rumors. Like, that's what I mean. He's always doing that. He's always making up rumors, dropping people into things. He's just like, that's what I mean. As I said, I think I said it actually in the previous episode, I said, why is Sam here? I don't want him in the show anymore, and I don't want him on my TV, but I know that they want him in there because, of course, do you know what I mean? He brings, I don't know, I was gonna say he brings the bacon, but I mean in the way that, like, oh yeah, he brings the goss, or like, he just brings the drama, and like, without him, would it be as good? I don't know. That's what I mean. They're trying to say like Sam has a placeholder in there, but I'm just like, I don't think he does. Like, if he was to get rid of him, you know what I mean? I'm like, if he was to get rid of him, I wouldn't miss him. I want him to go. Like, literally, I wanted to go. And also, this is what I was saying to you guys about the fact that they will always bring new people on there, but I don't want them to just keep bringing people in, like, through other people. I just want them to bring, like, random people in. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think, right, the people who just come in, I think someone like Elise and I feel Kit, those are great additions. You know what I mean? I mean, they're not, like, as I said, they're not connection people. They're literally just people. Like, I don't know where they find these people again, but they're just people. I don't know where they find them, but yes. And then, well, oh, obviously Chugs as a new addition, they found him off Love Island. I thought that was weird, of course. I didn't know you guys were going to Love Island to bring people on to Made in Chelsea, but that's okay. I was like, it's not, I don't think that they probably should do that, because that's what I mean. It's very weird. Or is it just like, oh, I think maybe they just kind of see it as like, oh yeah, you on Love Island, you didn't get love, maybe you can come onto Made in Chelsea and find someone. I don't know, is that how it works? But, and I wouldn't really, I don't know why they think that though, because Made in Chelsea's not like, I don't know, is Made in Chelsea a dating show? Maybe, but I don't know, because that's what I mean. Everyone's kind of, that's what I mean, everyone's kind of with everyone, I mean, so like, do you know what I mean? And no one has any loyalty to anyone as well, so that's what I mean. Maybe it's kind of similar to a Love Island villa, do you know what I mean? So maybe that's why they decided to bring him in. And fine, if that's the case, then sure, scout people from Love Island then, because that's what I mean. Made in Chelsea's turning into a Love Island 2.0, because that's what I mean. There's no loyalties, everyone just does whatever they want. Everyone just does whatever they want, it doesn't even matter. So that's what I mean, that's what they want the show to be. That's fine. Except, you know what I mean, I sometimes think to myself, it's not my Made in Chelsea, but do you know what I mean, I'll continue to tune in because why not? Why not? But thank you for listening, and I'll see you actually when the next Made in Chelsea season starts. Bye.